We think of, in Reach to Thrive, we really think of psychedelics as just, like I said, a tool in that toolbox. It is not the main show at all. And so everything else in that toolbox is multiple modalities. And because we work on a really multidisciplinary team, that toolbox is even more full. So we have all the somatic therapies in there, like from psychology and psychiatry, like EMDR, but we also use tapping or EFT. We also use a lot of energy routines from our somatic therapists and ways of getting back into your body, feeling your body, getting the head reconnected to the body. So in that toolbox, there's all of those. And then there's all the, psychotherapy and psychodynamic modalities, and some of the newer ones that we're finding play more nicely with psychedelics, like internal family systems. But then all those other modalities are in there. And what we do as a team, because the team is bringing so many skills, is we interweave the best of all of those together. We take, if this is the best way to approach resiliency, then we use that. If we're talking about window of tolerance or congruence or coherence or whatever is coming up for them, then we go and grab that piece and use it, and often mix them up. Even like we're not dogmatic. And I think that is the biggest skill you can have as a therapist, is not to be dogmatic and go, this is the way, because there is no way, one way. And when you're early in your therapy career, you learn a few techniques and you think those are the bomb, that's what I'm going to do. And that means you're early in your career. And as you can go through your career, you start to go, oh, yeah, that doesn't work for everyone. And then you get this. And so this is the lifelong learning part. And so and that is often so much why we hear from our wise mentors and the elders ahead of us is, I know nothing. Is such a common thing, is I used to think I knew it, and now I know nothing. And that's where that humble, egoless place comes, is like, oh yeah, there is so many more ways of approaching this. And that's the lifelong learning. So keep picking up tools and then go, where does this fit in and how does this work? And watching when it works and when it doesn't work, and being, celebrating when, like, wow, that really was, I'm happy with that, or we're happy with that. And so that toolbox keeps filling up. So because we have spiritual care workers, there's that framing. And we have one of the biggest tools in that, as we were talking about before, is like the nonviolent communication for ourselves, for our patients, for the team. Trauma-informed care. We are always doing cultural sensitivity training. There is always more to learn there to show up in service. So that toolbox is constantly being filled and filled and filled and filled over and over again. And it morphs and changes. There's some things that we don't use anymore that we used early in the program. And now we're like, yeah, no, clients are coming more and more sophisticated too. So you have to elevate up. So something that we had to do, when we started Roots to Thrive, we're not there anymore, because people have read a lot more. It's in the culture, it's in the media. So constantly elevating. And that's when you have these teams, when somebody brings in their new skill sets, lean into that and say, let's learn more about that. So you really do need big toolbox. Psychedelics is just one of those tools in the toolbox. Not everybody needs a psychedelic. And I think that's where, as a therapist, you'll know how successful you are, is when you have people that they think they need a psilocybin journey, and they think they need a ketamine journey or an MDMA journey, and sometimes they don't. Not everybody gets the hammer, or the nail, or they get it a lot less than they thought. They signed up and they were going to do 3 sessions, and they're great after 1.
Yeah.
So that toolbox must be big. It must be a buffet table of options, and you have to keep also training in those multi-modalities, especially the ones that you're skeptical of. Quite often, those ones can be the most surprising. I'll say that as an MD, some of the therapies I was the most skeptical of, I was like, I wish I would have used these earlier. IFS is definitely something that is easy to grasp, and it's easy quite early. It's like, oh yeah, I can. So I think it's a fast toolbox, something somatic. People have to get. So whether that's learning just a lot of pause practices or breath work, tapping, EFT, EMDR, something that is, there's a lot of cross work around like the neurophysiology stuff. A lot of the stuff we do when we're helping people with traumatic brain injury, those sort of things, getting people back into their bodies. So think of that like it's a whole human, right? Yeah. So I that's why I think Hakomi has been so popular, because it is also a somatic, Peter Levine's somatic work as well, but keep going. And I think it's really and the trauma, you really have to have the knowledge of what trauma is, and then what are the steps out of it, and what are just the symptoms of that, because so often like medicine has just been treating the symptoms of it as opposed to treating the real condition that's right there in the middle. So that's where I would start, something really good with trauma, Peter Levine, IFS with Dick Schwartz, Hakomi or tapping, and then lifelong learning. Build a team and learn from others. This is lifelong, right? You should, this speaks back to the accountability groups, learning groups. Keep learning. It's, you should, if you're bored or in this, it's your fault. You should never be bored, and you should never be done, and you should never feel like you know it all. You should always feel like you're getting rattled a little bit.